Hey y'all, welcome back to another testimonial vlog. So we're in August and today I'm testifying for the month of June. Y'all already know I'm behind time. We're not going to spend too much time on that, but it's all good. I hope that y'all enjoyed the last testimonial vlog. I'm excited to hop into the month of June because so many things happened. I kind of gave y'all a sneak peek into what June consisted of in the May testimonial video. So I'm excited to get started and we're just gonna hop right in. So on June 1st, Jordan and I, it was hot that day. Jordan and I went to the Backyard Boogie event. So shout out to Black Ass Flea Market. I was excited to go because I wanted to go to the B. Marie Accessories table. So B. Marie Accessories is a Black-owned, women-owned jewelry brand. Shout out to Shannon, the owner. I love her jewelry, and because I'm like dipping my toes into accessorizing more, I feel like her jewelry is perfect to do that with. Super cute. A lot of great pieces. A lot of them are statement pieces, but then some of them are like very minimal, which I love, and the price points are really reasonable. So if you want to check out B. Marie Accessories, I'm going to drop the URL below and in the description box so that you can check them out. But other than that, I was determined to go to Backyard Boogie so I can go to B. Marie Accessories table. I ended up getting a watch ring in gold, which I wear a lot and I always get a lot of compliments on. And I also got some silver heart earrings. Super cute, y'all. So I was able to pick up a few things. But as I was at the market, we walked around. We really didn't have a ton of time because I actually had something to do afterwards, and so did Jordan, but I was determined. So we walked around, saw all the other vendors that were there. Some of them I had seen before, some of them were new. And I had actually came across Lay Blue Body Care. So there were actually two perfume vendors at Backyard Boogie that day, but what attracted me to Lay Blue Body Care was the way her bottles looked, and of course all her scents. So I started smelling, I started indulging. It was June 1st, so y'all know I was ready to get a perfume. And although I didn't buy anything, we connected, me and Quenisha connected, and I got her information. I was excited because I was actually looking for a vendor without really looking. I was still looking for a vendor for my workshop part 2, style therapy. And I already talked about style therapy a little bit, or maybe I didn't, but it actually happened this month, June 29th. So we'll definitely talk more about that. But I was looking for a vendor without really looking, and I kind of just ran into Quenisha. She was from Miami, which is where my father's from, so I thought that was interesting. And she said she hadn't even been in Baltimore for a year. She said she moved here because Miami, the audience that she was looking for wasn't there. But when she came to Baltimore, she just met so many great people that really loved what she was doing and was excited to work with her. And I being one of them. So we exchanged information, and I told, in my journal, I mentioned that I would reach out to her to just confirm the details and have her to be a part of my workshop, y'all. So that happened, and it was just so authentic and like organic. After that, I ended up dropping Jordan off at the train station because he decided that he wanted to go to the Orioles game with him and a few of his friends. And then I ended up going to my cousin's baby shower. So congrats, my cousin Laura had a little girl. She named her June because she was born in the month of June. And her baby shower was June 1st. So I was able to go and see family, spend time with family. We turned up a little bit, played games, and that was that. So it was a nice, cute little day, a nice, cute first day of the month. And at this point, y'all, we had started a 30-day fast. I don't know if I had mentioned this in the last vlog, but at this point, Increase 365 had started a 30-day fast, and I can't remember what day we were on for this. I don't know why I didn't mention it in my journaling, but this was the fast that basically I did talk about it. So this was the fast where we basically had to stop eating at 6 p.m. and couldn't eat again until 6 a.m. And we were also fasting from secular music, we were fasting from TV, and we were also fasting from sweets. So because the baby shower, I think it started at like maybe 3, I probably got there at like 4. Didn't have a ton of time to eat, but I made sure I indulged, of course. Couldn't have any sweets. I couldn't control the music, so obviously I heard some secular music there. But it was hard, y'all. It was hard to fast on that day in particular, and on quite a few of these days throughout the month. This month specifically, this was one of the hardest fasts I had ever done because of the stipulations, and it's in the middle of summer. Like, it just was a challenge, but that's what fasting is all about. So I'm glad I was able to get through it. But the baby shower was super cute. I loved everything. And then once it was over, I went back to Jordan's and we went for a walk just to finish out our day. So it was nice. It was a nice day. All right, so on June 2nd, I basically worked from home. I didn't really have too much going on today, but I think I wrote down in my journal, well, I know I wrote down in my journal that my back was hurting. So I was holding my little niece, Mars, at the baby shower yesterday, and I guess I just wasn't sitting straight, and I had like a crick in my back after holding her. Y'all, at the time, she was only like 7 or 8 months, so she wasn't heavy. I think it was just because of how I was sitting. Child, I don't know. My back was hurting. So I was trying to like stretch it out and do all the things, but that wasn't really helping. I started curating Kishana's shopping list so that I could start shopping for her that day, and I did. And I also got my digital card for my insurance. So y'all, I told y'all in the last video that I transitioned into being full-time at my job. And of course that means benefits. So of course I was waiting for my insurance card. So I got my digital insurance card that day. So I was excited because that meant that I could start looking for dentists and therapists. Y'all, today is August 14th. Today, I'm just now looking for a dentist and solidifying an appointment. But I got it done, so that's all that matters. But aside from that, I went to the gym, I ate dinner, and then I ended my night journaling and reading the Bible. I was so tired though, y'all. Like, fasting sometimes really makes me tired. And I hate it because it's like I want to be up. I want to be rejuvenated and energized. But sometimes it really just drains me, and that day was very draining. So I stayed up to journal and read, but I was getting tired, so I just ended my day and went to sleep. On June 3rd, it was a Monday, I was still at Jordan's, so I worked from his house. At this point, we were halfway through the 30-day fast, so day 15 was on June 3rd. And at this point, I was excited that it was coming closer to the end. Every morning, I felt like I was waking up ready to eat. And although, I mean, that's normal, but you know, I definitely wanted to make sure that I was utilizing my fasting time and really being intentional with my time, and also being intentional with my time during the day where I was able to eat. I felt like I wasn't eating as much throughout the day during the fast, which also was kind of odd, but I made it work. We also had a really great call with Raven that day. So throughout the fast, I want to say we had sessions every day, if I'm not mistaken. And in this particular session, this live session that she did for the fast, she prayed over us, you know, allowed us to sow into the ministry. And with this particular session, she prayed or confirmed that, you know, what God was doing with me transitioning into full-time was very intentional. And I'm glad that I, you know, made that choice to transition. Because I think in the last video I mentioned that I was a little unsure or I was hesitant, and throughout the video I mentioned I didn't know why I was so hesitant, but like I said, I'm really glad I made that choice, and with Raven saying that was just confirmation to know that I made the right choice. So, and it was cool to see like how different my life is now, or at the time, which is still very similar to now, compared to where I was last year, y'all. So I was out of a job all 2023. Rulala let me go January 2023, and I had to get on unemployment. And I was thankful for it because I had been out of a job before, but I had never gotten unemployment. So it was nice to get unemployment. It was nice to get a severance, but it also kind of sucked a bit because I literally spent most of the year from January to August not working. And although I was able to travel still and do a lot of great and fun things, it still felt like I wasn't doing anything or I wasn't moving closer to my goals. So fast forward to this year, I'm in a way better space mentally, like I mentioned, and also financially too, with having this full-time job. My business is thriving and just all the things. So I'm very thankful to see like the growth and the transition into this year compared to where I was last year. Also that day after the session, I was able to sow into the Supernaturally Paid Ministry, and literally right after that, I received commission from Pepper. So Pepper is that bra company that specializes in bras from like AA to B cups. So girls with small boobs. And someone, I think it was someone in Increase 365 who shopped the bras through my commissionable link, and I got commission. It was $6, but still it was nice to like randomly receive that because I had no idea. But I kind of like put two and two together and kind of like, you know, did my little research to see who it was. But aside from that, I'm looking forward to more opportunities where I can gain commission with people shopping my links. So yeah. Okay, so on June 4th, I was off work. And I know it probably seems like I work all the time, but I do get some days off. So I was off work, and me and Jordan woke up that day and went for a walk. Love going for a walk, love exercising, all the things. And then I had a nail appointment. At the time, I didn't really know how I was going to pay for it because I'm pretty sure like I wasn't getting paid until either that Friday or the following week. But come to find out, I checked my account and my father had actually put money into my account for my student loans. So he had been depositing money into my account every month to help me pay my student loans. I want to say now for almost a year or a little over a year. And it has been so helpful, y'all. I pay a little over $800 every month for my student loans. On top of my credit card debt, I have to pay that monthly. And then, you know, any other expenses that come up like gas, food, or whatever. And then I also save. I also invest. So, you know, after I do all of those things, I really don't have much left over sometimes. So it really is helpful to have my dad to be able to help me pay down my student loan debt. Now, sometimes, depending on when it's added into my or deposited into my account, sometimes I use that money for other things other than my student loans. But I always put it back. So like, for example, this day I used it toward my nails, but I knew that I was getting paid either that Friday or the following Friday. So I just make sure I put that money back and then make the bill payment for my student loans. So it's just about moving money around and using it, you know, when you need it versus, you know, waiting. But other than that, I don't do that often, but when I need to, I do. Also this day, I had a glitter Cash App card for a little minute, and it was like $5. They had sent out an email probably a few months before saying that, you know, if you want to upgrade to the glitter Cash App card, it's only $5. So I upgraded to get the rewards and all the things that came with the Cash App card. And I didn't realize, I thought I was only getting access to a certain amount of rewards. But when I went on the Cash app and looked through all the rewards that were offered to me, I saw that I got like a discount off of certain brands and food places. So Chipotle was one of them. I got 5% off. And although that may not sound like a lot, it's still something. So I was hungry after getting my nails done. I wanted to get lunch, and I was thankful that now I had a little coin in my account. So I went ahead and Cash Apped myself like what I thought how much it would be to get Chipotle. And I got Chipotle with a discount. I also ended up getting a smoothie from Tropical Smoothie. So I thought I had already had their rewards, but I had re-downloaded the app, and apparently, I don't know, I didn't have an account. I don't know. But I was rewarded a free smoothie after downloading the app. So I ended up getting a free smoothie that day too. So it was just a lot of favor that day, which I'm so thankful for. And yeah, I also finished editing the April testimonial video, which at that point was hella delayed, but I'm glad I was able to put it out. And at this point, y'all have probably already watched it. So thanks for watching. All right, so on June 5th, I got a notification from my manager's manager, Taylor, and she confirmed that they would love to have me to come to Philly to help educate the new stylists about the products and to just get a feel for the store and teach them what it looks like to be a stylist at LaFleur. And I was so excited, y'all. I had never done any traveling for work before, and when she initially brought the idea to the table, I was a little hesitant. Don't ask me why I'm so hesitant about everything, but I just always want to make sure that what I'm doing is intentional and that it aligns. So with this work trip, it was between the days of June 26th and June 28th. So today, that day was June 5th, so I had plenty of time to prepare. But I started looking for a hotel. I started looking for a train ticket, and I even asked Jordan if he wanted to come. It made sense because his brother lives there, and also I didn't want to be alone. So he was more than excited to come, and he was able to stay for free. So they were basically paying for everything. They paid for the hotel, they paid for transportation, and they also gave me a per diem every day to pay for lunch and things. So it was really, really cool. And I'll talk more about the experience when we get to June 26th. I also had a really productive day that day. So I was able to reach out to people about the workshop, post it on social media, post it in different platforms and all the things. I also had a really nice conversation with Tone. So she had just traveled to Milwaukee for her 10-week internship with Kohl's, and I hadn't really talked to her too much since seeing her on the day that she was leaving, basically. So I'm glad we were able to have a conversation. We was on the phone for like over an hour, maybe over 2 hours, and we talked about a lot of things. So I'm glad that I was able to, you know, catch up with a good friend and just talk through some business stuff. I was also able to shop more for Kishana, my client. I didn't mention in the previous days, but with me working at LaFleur, I get a really good discount. So a lot of the pieces that I got for her capsule wardrobe were from LaFleur, and I got them for 60% off. So it was so good because her budget was about $2K. So I was able to really save a lot of the budget with that discount. So I was able to get more for the money that I had for her, because it's all about building a capsule wardrobe. And although a wardrobe doesn't need to have a bunch of pieces, I wanted to make sure I had a variety of things for her to pick and choose from and for her to try throughout her styling experience. So I was so happy that I was able to do that for her. Also, last but not least, I was able to register for the St. Louis Supernaturally Paid Praise and Worship Service, which y'all know I talked about before, I want to say, in a previous video, but it was happening this month on June 20th, which was, I want to say, 2 days or a day after we ended the 30-day fast. So y'all, this was a free event, so it was free for me to attend, but I still had to pay. I had to pay to get a flight, I had to pay for the Airbnb and all the things, transportation, all the things. So it was funny because, or just how it happened, and I'll talk more about it later in the this video, but basically I was very hesitant at first because I'm like, God, like, I don't have the money to go. Like, are you gonna provide me with the funds? Like, what's happening? I don't want to wait too late to get my flight, because y'all know flights be increasing the closer you get to the date. Well, I was able to go because Kishana was able to pay me her second half of her investment into my package. So I basically used that money to get a flight. I used that money to get to help with paying for the Airbnb, and of course I used it for transportation while I was there and all the things. So it all worked out, but yeah, I was definitely a little hesitant at first. Okay, so on June 6th, y'all, I went to Logan's graduation. So Logan is my good girlfriend Taylor, her daughter, and she's 6. So she graduated from pre-K and now she's starting 1st grade in the fall, y'all. So yes, congrats to Logan. But it was super cute going to her graduation. One, I haven't been to a child's graduation in a while. Jet, my nephew, he's 9, and so it's been years since like he graduated from pre-K and went to the first grade. So I haven't been to one in a while. So it was super cute to like see all the kids super excited to graduate and just excited to be the center of attention. She goes to a Christian school, which I absolutely love. I was saying in my journal that I had never thought to send my child to a Christian school, but after seeing them like singing gospel songs, citing scriptures, and really excited like about God, I definitely want to consider it, because I feel like as a child, it's good to start them off young with knowing God and all the things. Of course, when they get older, they'll learn like more about themselves, they'll learn more about God and all this stuff, but like I just want to start them off on the right path. I feel like if I would have stayed on that path, at least for me, I would have like, my faith would have probably been through the roof. But you know, I'm getting there and I'm trying my best to increase my faith with everything that I do now. But aside from that, I definitely was excited, and it really got me excited to have my own kids and start them on the right path. I also had a productive day. That day I was able to record a YouTube video. I'm not quite sure which YouTube video it was because I wasn't specific in my journal, but that's always a good thing. And my clothes got delivered. So the clothes I was ordering for Kishana have been delivered. So I was able to kind of look through things, hang them up, steam them, and just prepare them for her fitting. Even this day, I was able to finish it out helping my sister with her closet. So I think I mentioned in the last video toward the end that I had asked my sister if she wanted me to start helping her with her closet. So I gave her some instruction. I asked her to order some bins, some rolling racks, and all the things. So she ordered some stuff, and that night I basically, you know, was putting everything together. So it was just good to see everything finally coming together with her closet. And y'all, I'm still not done. I gave her some instruction. She still hasn't executed. So at this point, I just got to keep encouraging her. But I did everything that I could do. I probably will end up reconvening everything probably closer to the end of the month this month. And just helping her like really finish cleaning out her closet and organizing it. So y'all pray for her and pray for me, please. So June 7th was a good day, y'all. I had met up with James, who I mentioned in the last video, who was a stylist for Jay Hilburn, and he invited me to his studio. So he showed me around his studio. It's super cute in Baltimore City, downtown Baltimore. And we just talked through Jay Hilburn. We talked through like what he does as a stylist and all the things. And then we just talked. I really enjoy like talking to him and like having conversations with him because I feel like we're always on the same page. But yeah, it was nice to see his studio. I was gonna ask how much the studio spaces were, but I was a little afraid. I definitely want a studio space, but I know that I also want a home. So not to say that I can't have both, but my initial intention was to have a studio space in my home, but I'm also open to the fact of having one outside my home too, or open to the idea of having one outside my home too. So I can always ask him again. That's what I said in my journal. Like, I was afraid to ask him because I wasn't sure if it was something that I could budget for or afford, but I can always ask him again. He's still in the studio. So yeah. Also had a really great virtual appointment. I'm assuming it was with Kishana. I wasn't specific in my journal, but I'm assuming that the virtual appointment was with Kishana, and it was great. I ended up going to Honeygrow for lunch, which was really good. I love Honeygrow. And the lady, one woman reached out to me via email asking questions about something, but she was interested in my styling service. So she actually ended up scheduling a style breakthrough session with me. I want to say one day that week. So that was nice to get, you know, to have that session with her and to get paid from that session. And also that evening, I was helping my sister out again in her closet, and I got the notification that Kishana paid her second half of her deposit, which I mentioned previously in this video. That was right on time and very useful because I was able to then pay a deposit for the trip that I'm going to in January with Increase 365. I was also able to get my flight for St. Louis. I was also able to help with putting money towards the Airbnb for St. Louis. So that money really helped me to do a lot of things that I was planning to do, and I just wasn't sure how it was gonna happen, but God made a way, and I'm so thankful. So on June 8th, I wasn't actually on the schedule originally, but I ended up getting my schedule switched around because I had to take Jordan to a doctor's appointment on June 11th. So I worked bento, but this was a Saturday. So y'all know, when I work bento and or when it's the weekend, I really don't do much work, y'all. Like, I do what I can the time that I'm in front of my computer, and then after that, I like clock out. And it was a lot going on that day, so I definitely like had plans. Jordan had an artist talk at Impact Hub for our friend Sade. So Sade hosted this artist talk event called Share Your Why, and it was super cute. It was Jordan and a few other artists, both male and female, all Black, I want to say. I think it was one white girl and another like Hispanic girl, but aside from that, very diverse, at least I think. But it was super cute watching Jordan talk. It wasn't a ton of people there because it was already something going on in Baltimore City. It was the Charles Street Promenade. So the Charles Street Promenade was happening that day, which was not far from Impact Hub. So once we did his artist talk, I got some content of him and all the things, we went outside. So the Charles Street Promenade is something that they started doing a couple of years ago, where basically they have vendors outside. A lot of the food restaurants and like places are doing promos and all the things. So and it's just a lot to do. So we ended up walking to that after his artist talk, and we met up with our friends. So it was a super cute day. I got some cute pictures, ate some good food while I was out, and had a good time. Then that night, we ended up going to our homegirl Jade's house. Now, y'all know, the fast was still happening. So we didn't go until after 6. So I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink any liquor or anything. I was just drinking water. So it was a little trying, but I got through. And I couldn't listen to secular music either. So I was trying to like be on the aux. But I was also trying to like play music that they would like, but also play music that, you know, wasn't secular. It was a lot. I probably wouldn't put myself in that situation again, but it wasn't bad. Like, it just, I don't know. It just was a little challenging, but I was able to make it through. Had a good time, and we ended up not staying super late because after a while I got tired and I was ready to go. So we ended up leaving soon, but that night Jade ended up getting some news about her boyfriend, who was a cop, and he got injured on the job. So we were just praying that, you know, he was gonna be okay and that it wasn't anything super serious. And fast forward to this day, he's perfectly fine. He healed very quickly and all the things. He definitely went through some job transitions and all the things like that. But aside from that, he is doing really, really well, and he really healed up very quickly. So it was it's nice to see him like walking around and things now. But yeah, that situation was very like crazy, and it literally happened. I'm gonna tell y'all about God. It literally happened right after we left. She got a call. Thankfully, our friends Nia and her fiance Chris, they were still there. They had came to the function a little late, and they weren't ready to leave when we left, so they stayed. Thankfully, they stayed, because when Jade got that call from Dion, they ended up taking him to, or he ended up going to Mercy Hospital. Y'all, do y'all know that Nia works at Mercy Hospital? She works there. Jade had never, I don't know if Jade had ever been to Mercy or anything like that, but she wasn't super familiar with Mercy Hospital, where to go, where to park. But because Nia and Chris were still there, they helped her. They literally followed her in the car to Mercy Hospital. Nia literally like instructed her to go to the right parking garage, the right door to go through, the right person to talk to. Like, if that wasn't God, I don't know who that was. But I'm like tearing up talking about it because it's just so crazy to just like see how God works in real time. So like I said, Dion is perfectly fine till this day. He is great, alive and breathing. But just to know that, you know, if Nia and Chris didn't come, because they were like not sure if they were gonna come or not. If they didn't come, y'all, obviously Jade would have figured it out. She's a smart girl. But it just helped to alleviate the situation for her, and just made her have a little bit more peace with like just getting there and not panicking, not like, you know, doing all the things. So I don't know where that came from, but I definitely wanted to share that backstory context to, like, you know, really just let y'all know how God works. And last but not least, on that day, I noticed that someone had applied to be a mentee of my mentorship program. Although she ended up not moving forward right then and there, it was still nice to know that people are watching and people are excited to work with me. So I actually should probably follow up with her. All right, so on June 19th, it was Sunday. Me and Jordan woke up and went to church. I'm so glad that we did, because in preparation for Father's Day, they had a men's panel. So my pastor is actually the former chaplain for the Ravens, and he is still connected to a lot of the Ravens players and coaches till this day. So on the panel was a panel of men, and some of them were Ravens players, some of them were coaches and mentors and things. So that's what the service was about. And it was really nice just hearing that dialogue and hearing that conversation. They basically answered questions and talked about how men process things and all the things. So it was nice to like hear those things and listen. After church, we went to get breakfast / lunch. We got these really good sandwiches and things and coffee and things from this place called Ragnar. I don't know how to pronounce it or say it, but it's like it's kind of like Panera Bread, but not really. It's a little different. They have a different menu. They have really like nice specialty coffees and sandwiches and things. So it was really, really good. And then when we got back, my friends had called. So I was on the phone talking to them and just chit-chatting and all the things with them. So that was nice, because we always have conversations every so often, and we just check in with each other. So that was nice. I also finished shopping for Kishana, which was great. And I was just hoping and praying that I would get everything on time before her fitting on that Wednesday. And I ended up getting everything on time, which worked out. And yeah, I took a nap that day. I was really tired, but I woke up to a Poshmark sale. So I created a Poshmark account back in college. I was selling stuff heavy in college, but then over time I just stopped selling things as heavy, but I still had my account and I still have most of the items that are on there. So someone had purchased something, I can't remember. So that was exciting because it was random and it came out of nowhere. So that was nice. Okay, so on June 10th, I actually had a call with, I think it was Olaire and Udemy. Yes, Olaire and Udemy from the Women's Summit that I believe I mentioned in the last testimonial video. So she had reached out to me, one of them, I think it was Udemy, who reached out via email. She reached out in IG messages just to tell me more about her summit and to ask if I would be interested in being a part. Obviously I was, because y'all know from the last video that I had an opportunity to be a part of a summit before, but I didn't qualify. So this one, like I mentioned, they were not looking for all of that. So I was excited to be a part, learn more about what exactly they needed from me and the topic of conversation. So this was our connection call that we had in the morning over Zoom. And like I said, they're based out of Africa. So her Wi-Fi was a little spotty, so we weren't really able to have a really great conversation like I wanted to, or like I thought we were gonna have. But I was able to get all the details and ask all the questions that I needed to ask, and it was cool. So yeah, I was a part of the summit, and that was the first step to being a part of it. I also had a really productive day personally, just doing admin work, posting, and doing all the things. I was also able to confirm the hotel and transportation for Philly, which was nice. I also was able to watch a sermon. I'm not exactly sure what sermon it was, but I'm pretty sure it was Transformation Church with Pastor Mike Todd, but I'm not sure what sermon it was. But apparently it was about being obedient, which was my word for this year. I kind of keep forgetting that it was my word. But aside from that, that video, or that sermon, I'm sorry, just reassured me to, like, you know, be obedient to what God is asking or telling me to do. Not asking, but telling me to do and instructing me to do. And to just use my wisdom, ask God for wisdom if I feel like I need more clarity, and just talking to him and praying for the things, praying for myself, and just praying for me to be more obedient to his word, and not allowing anybody else's opinions or things, or even my insecurities to kind of get in the way of what he's asking me to do. So that sermon was really good and just really great confirmation. Okay, y'all, so June 11th, y'all know I was taking Jordan to his doctor's appointment, and I ended up taking off that day because I really wasn't sure how the day was going to play out, but it ended up being a really, really quick procedure. After that, we went to lunch. And we went to lunch at Tark's, which is one of our favorite places, one of our favorite restaurants here in Baltimore. They have really, really good seafood and just a really nice ambiance. And because the day was so beautiful, we ended up sitting outside. Now, I was going to treat him to lunch. Y'all know I had got the money from my client, so I had the money. But when the check came, he ended up treating me. So it was a really nice surprise. And I don't know, it just kind of shows you to, like, be willing to help and be willing to do things regardless of what it looks like, because it always ends up working out the way that it's supposed to anyway. So because I was so willing to, like, treat him, and I took him to his doctor's appointment, I took off of work, he ended up treating me for my time. So it was cute, and I love it. I love being treated. But Tark's was really good. I think I had like a soft shell crab sandwich. It was good as I don't know what, y'all. Their seafood is fresh and it's good. So after that, we ended up going back home. I did some work. I took a nap. Jordan also took a nap because he was tired. And this day I prepared for the webinar that I was doing with Karee in the Blossoms Mentorship Circle. So she had asked me, I think I mentioned this in the last video, to be a part of her first webinar where she'll bring on mentors to talk about specific topics. And it was super cute. Like, I love talking, I love educating, I love sharing my expertise about being a stylist, a style savant. And we talked about some of the limiting beliefs when it comes to styling. I talked about a few other things I can't specifically remember, but it was quite a few women on that call. And I was hoping that, you know, I would get some sales to my workshop or get some sales to my ebook, but none of that happened. But all in all, it was a great experience. And the more I talk and share my expertise, the easier it becomes for me to speak in front of groups of people, whether it be virtual or in person. So it was just practice for me. It was practice. And I got some cute content. So that's all that matters. I was also able to look at some flights. Now, like I told y'all, I was very hesitant to get my flight because I wasn't really sure at the time where I was staying. I wasn't really sure what time I should get there or any of that. I also wasn't sure, like, how far the airport was from where I was gonna stay, and even how far it was from the location of the supernaturally paid praise and worship service. So it was a lot of things that were up in the air. But y'all, God came through again. Literally that day, one of the women from the Increase 365 group had DM'd me, and she asked me if I wanted to stay with her and some of the women at an Airbnb. I said yes, I would love to, because like I told y'all, I was trying to figure out where to stay. I really didn't want to, like, spend too much on a place to stay. I was really only staying 1 or 2 nights, and it would have been nice to, like, share a space with some of the women. So when she DM'd me, I told her, like, yo, this is perfect timing. I was literally trying to figure out where exactly I was going to stay, what flight I was gonna get, all the things. So God be knowing. God knows everything. So she ended up texting me. We all put ourselves in a group chat. She sent some Airbnb options. I picked, you know, which one I liked, and we secured it. And with that being secured, I was able to then get my flight and just continue preparing for the supernaturally paid praise and worship service. So it was really nice, and I'm glad that everything worked out, as it always does, y'all. So June 12th was a little crazy. This was the day where I had my in-person styling fitting, or in-person fitting with Kishana, my client. She lived in Silver Spring, so she didn't really live too far from me. being in Baltimore. So it's about 45 minutes, maybe less. So I was in the process of packing up the car. I had everything ready to go. I was recording content, all the things, and I locked my keys in the trunk, y'all. Literally locked my keys in the trunk. So I had started to get a little upset. I'm like, oh my gosh, I tried pulling the car door open. I'm thinking my car is still unlocked. It's not. And because I was being me, I had already put my purse in my car. I had already put my phone in my car. So the only thing that I did not have was my computer that was in my car, which I'm so thankful, because once it happened, I immediately messaged her or emailed her, and I told her that, you know, unfortunately I have locked my keys in the car. I'm in the process of retrieving them, but I will be running a little late to our virtual fitting. I mean, our in-person fitting. Thankfully, she was very understanding and it worked out. So y'all, me and my father was home, thankfully, because I didn't have my AAA card because it was in my wallet, which was in my purse, which was in the car. So he had his AAA card, but obviously it's connected to his car. So he called AAA and let them know that it was my car, and they called for backup. But you know, AAA be taking forever, y'all. So in the meantime, between time, me and him watching YouTube videos, TikToks, trying to figure out different ways to break into a car. And although none of it worked, thankfully my neighbor was off work that day, and he drove past and saw that we were having some issues. So he's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Like, let me just go home, get my screwdriver and all the things. So y'all, him, another one of my neighbors who was a tow truck driver, he also helped. So 2 guys and my father were literally helping to break into my car. Y'all, within like 20 minutes, we was in there. My car door was open. I got into my car. My car is a little jacked up now by the window, but it's all good. It's still very much drivable. And I was able to make my way to the in-person fitting for my client, Kishana. So I emailed her, let her know that I was on the way. I had already had everything packed in the car, so I just made my way there. I wasn't really too late. The appointment was scheduled for 11:30. I want to say I got there at 12:30. So yeah, it worked out. She was able to try things on. Some things didn't fit, some things did. She loved everything for the most part. So I was able to finish that up, head back home, got myself some lunch, and got back home that evening. I had a call with Kishana and Elena to prepare for her photo shoot. It was a long call, but it was all worth it because her photo shoot was such a great experience. I'll be getting those photos soon, hopefully this week. But aside from that, y'all, the moral of that story is to not stress out and to not panic. Everything happens for a reason. God will always provide. He will always show up for you, and he will always do things. And yeah, it's easier said than done. Y'all, I immediately started to get worried when it happened. But I had to give myself some time to like sit down, take a breather, and like get my mind right and really think of a solution. And I also prayed. I prayed. Once I like got my jitters out, I prayed like, God, please like help this to work out. Let me know what I should be doing. Give me the wisdom. What should I be asking for? Who should I be asking to help? Like all the things. And as you can see, it worked out. So it ended up being a great day. Okay, so on June 13th, I had to wake up early to take Jack to school. That is my nephew. And I got him to school right on time. Sometimes on TV running a little late, but I got him to school right on time. I was able to return all of the returns and exchanges for my client Kishana to UPS. And one of the tops that I had reordered for her or ordered for her had arrived that day. So I was excited to ship that off to her. But I still had a few more items I was waiting once those exchanges and returns were processed. I was able to confirm the Airbnb for St. Louis, which was great. So I was able to like get that done and out the way. And I had confirmed a live segment with both Jade and Morgan. So those are my friends and my panelists for Style Therapy, the workshop series that I hosted. That was part 2. Hosted Style Therapy this month, or in the month of June, and I was able to do a live segment with both her, Jade, and Morgan that evening. So it went really well. Aside from it cutting off at the end, I don't know what happened, y'all, but I still shared it and I still posted. We were basically done, but still, I don't know what happened. I also had a meeting, or I had a interview with an intern, potential intern. So a girl or woman by the name of Erin had reached out to me. She was referred to me by one of the stylists who used to be a part of Black Women Who Style when it was a membership. And she reached out via DM on IG. And I looked at her page. She didn't really have much on her page, but I set up a call with her. I sent her my link and she scheduled a call with me. So we literally hit it off the first call, y'all. So I was excited to like really bring her on as an intern. I really needed the help, so I was thankful for like the timing of it all. And I ended up hiring her as my intern. Now I'll get to that part when we get to that day in June, but this particular day I literally just had a connection call with her. Super sweet. We were on the same page, and like I said, we really hit it off, so I was excited. I also had to reschedule a style breakthrough call session that I originally scheduled with the woman a couple of days ago. So I was just saying in my journal that I hope that rescheduling wasn't an issue for her, and that you know, I hope that when we do meet that she is excited to work with me and excited to move forward. When we initially had the call scheduled, I don't know if she lost track of time or whatever, but when we had the call, she wasn't even like home. She was like out and about. So I encouraged her to reschedule so that way we could fully focus on our time and connecting when she was available. So she was able to reschedule, and I was excited to connect with her. So on June 14th, I had the style breakthrough session with Serena, the woman who I ended up rescheduling with, and it went really well. She was easy to talk to. I was super confident, and she really enjoyed what I had to say, and she was excited to move forward. But later that evening, she actually sent me an email saying that the price point of the package that I was offering to her wasn't in her budget. So she wanted to see if there was something else that was a little cheaper and more within her budget. So I spoke to her about, or I emailed her details about what that package looked like, what it included. But of course, she was more enticed by the original offer that I offered her. So she said, you know, she would come back when she was available to be in the space to budget for the Command Your Authority offer. So I'm glad I'm doing this video now, because a couple of months later, this June, July, August, I'm gonna see about following up with her and seeing where her head is at. I know she was interested in moving forward. It was just a matter of her being ready to commit financially. So we'll see how that goes. But it was really cool because I was in a space where I had only had one package for a while. And was only offering that package, well, for this year. And I wanted to offer or curate other offers, but I wasn't really sure what that would look like. So I had that one that I had offered her that was kind of like my middle tier. But then it kind of prompted me to want to think about an even lower tier offer. Of course, this would be the lowest I would go. And of course, this wouldn't include all of the things that the first offer would include, but it's still something for someone to get an opportunity to work with me, get a piece of what SCB is all about, and to just get the help that they need. So that opportunity or that situation really encouraged me to create something that was just a little bit of a lower tier. So I'm excited to put that out there. I haven't actually like fleshed through all the details yet, but it's coming. Also, when I was on the call, y'all, I got a random missed call. So usually when I take my style breakthrough sessions or any client calls, my phone is on silent or do not disturb. My phone is always on silent, but I usually put it on do not disturb or whatever. So I checked my phone and I saw that I had a missed call. I did not plan on, calling that phone number back because it's a missed call from a number that wasn't saved. I wasn't really sure, who it could have been. I assumed it was spam or whatever. I get a lot of spam calls. But before I even finished out my workday, that same phone number called me back. So I'm like, okay, obviously this is someone who was trying to get in contact with me. I don't know. So I answered the phone, and lo and behold, it was a pastor of a church and located in like the Towson area. And she was reaching out because she had found me on, I want to say either Google or social media. And they were looking to have a stylist come to their church and speak to their women, or the women of their church. I want to say that Sunday. I can't exactly remember the date, or that Saturday. And when she said all the things, I'm like, well, before I even got to that, when I answered the phone, I wasn't like professional at all. I wasn't like saying anything rude or crazy, but I was just like, hello, like, yes, this is her. Who's calling? Because at this point, like I said, I get a lot of spam calls, so I wasn't expecting it to be anybody. But fast forward, after she explained to me who she was, told me what she was looking for, I'm like, okay, it's a little last minute, but I would be willing to help. So I didn't expect to get any money from this opportunity, but she had then asked me what my budget was. So I said, okay, like usually my speaking engagement budget, I had priced it at a really high price point because I value my time, and I know the value that I have, and that what I'm going to offer to whoever I'm speaking to is going to learn something and take something from it. So I didn't actually give her that price point. I actually gave her like half of that, or a little less than that. Not even a little less, I'm lying. I gave her less than like $1,000 as a price point, and it was just like a number that popped into my head. So she was like, oh wow, well, you know, that's way out of our budget. I don't know if you're still interested in doing something like this, but we wouldn't be able to, you know, pay you that much. I said, okay, well, what is y'all's budget? So she told me their budget definitely was way lower than, like, less than half than what I was asking for. And you know, she didn't feel too confident in telling me the price point, but like I said, I was more than willing to help. I know that it was last minute. I know that if this opportunity wasn't for me, then it wouldn't have come across my way. So I said, okay, that's fine. I can work with that budget. I wasn't really like creating anything new. I basically spoke on a topic that I already had. I just needed to basically create slides for that topic. So I did spend a lot of time, not a lot of time, but more than I wanted to time on the slides. But now that it's created, it's a topic that I could talk about all the time, or multiple times now. So I was able to come up with the topic, create the slides, and I was prepared for the speaking engagement. It was a small group of women, I want to say about 10 of them, and it went really, really well. I didn't actually get any clients from it or any ebook sales, but it was an opportunity for, again, me to get practice, for me to create another slide for another great topic that everyone loved, and for me to make some connections and, you know, get paid also, and to just help people, you know, just educate them. I really, really enjoy talking, and I'm very passionate about talking about what I do, and just making it easy for people to digest like what style can look like for them, and just talking about my perspective on what style is. So it was a fun experience, and I'm sure I'll talk about it in the journal, but yeah, it was a great experience. So June 15th was the day, y'all. It was the day that I spoke at the church. But before all of that, I actually was on the schedule to work. And originally that morning, I was supposed to go to brunch with one of my friends, Mona. So Mona actually spoke at the first workshop, part 1, back in March. And I haven't really like talked to her since then. So I wanted to go off to brunch with her, catch her up on things, and also hear about what she's working on and what she's doing. But she texted me that morning saying that she needed to cancel and that she wasn't able to attend brunch. So I said, okay, no worries. So I ended up going to brunch with Jordan. I treated him to brunch. And the food was good. We went to a new restaurant that I had never tried before called Chuck's Trading Post. That was actually where me and Mona were gonna go. But I'm kind of glad that we went there, because it wasn't the type of ambiance that I would have expected it to be. And I would have preferred to have gone with Jordan as opposed to Mona. Mona's not from Baltimore, so I want to make sure that when she comes here that she has a great experience and it's in a beautiful space. Although Chuck's Trading Post, their food was good and it was a cool experience, but it wasn't like a pretty like brunch spot. It was very like rustic. And that just wasn't what I was going for. That wasn't the vibe. So me and Jordan had a really great brunch. After that, I was tired, y'all. So I came back to his house, worked on the presentation. And in my journal, I said it took a lot longer than what I expected. But I was able to take a nap and just like recharge before the presentation. So the presentation was in the evening. I want to say maybe at like 5:30, I think. And you know, it's summertime, so it's still daylight outside. I don't know why I'm so itchy. It's still daylight outside, so it was Saturday evening. And like I said, it was a fun and great experience. The women at the church were super easy to talk to. They also had a lot of good questions, and they were just a really nice group of women. I'm so glad that I said yes to it, although it was very last minute. Like I told y'all, literally got the call the day before. So I didn't really have too much time to prepare, but I had as much time as I needed. And God really just allowed that opportunity to play out organically. And it was also extra money in my pocket for the St. Louis trip, y'all. Like I told y'all, I was preparing to leave. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity. I do pray that they call me back again, and or, you know, at least one of the women or some of the women from that opportunity remember me and, you know, ask me for help or whatever. So, it was really nice. I'm glad I was able to do that. And it just happened so suddenly. It just came out of nowhere. So on June 16th was a Sunday and it was Father's Day. So me and Jordan woke up and went to church. My dad was not there and neither was his, but it was a great service nonetheless. And after service, we actually went to this sports store so Jordan can get his father a Father's Day gift. I ended up getting my father a book and a card, I think. Definitely, I remember the book. I'm sure I gave him a card too. So we were just making sure that we had our gifts for our parents. Now, while we were out at the sports store getting Jordan's father a Father's Day gift, we ran into a woman. Mind you, I've never been into this store before, so yeah. But we ran into her and she's looking at me and she's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm good. How are you?" I'm thinking to myself, like, do I know you? She's like, you look so familiar. People say this to me all the time. And I'm like, bro, who do I look like? Like, I don't get it. Because I feel like I don't look like anybody. But hey. So she's like, yeah, you look so familiar. I'm like, she's like, did you speak on a panel? I'm like, I have spoken on a few panels. She's like, for a women's conference. I can't remember the name of the women's conference, of course, now that I'm recording this. But of course, she reminded me the name of it at the time, where it was. I'm like, oh yeah, y'all, that women's conference was pre-pandemic. It had to have been 2017, 2018. So she remembered me almost 10 years ago, almost 8 years ago, you know, from this conference. And she's like, yeah, we spoke on a panel together. I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, well, good to see you. You look great. And she said the same thing to me. So that was interesting and it was nice. I still don't remember to this day who that woman was, but it's nice to know that people remember me. And I'm leaving a lasting impression on people. And rewind back to church, I thought it was also interesting too, because the pastor after church, we had went over and spoke to my mother. She always sits in the same spot. And the pastor had walked past and he spoke to Jordan. He's like, hey man, how you doing? Is this your first time here? And I'm looking like, Pastor, Jordan been here like 20 million times. Why all of a sudden are you just now spotting him? Like, that was interesting. Not to say anything, you know, bad about my pastor or anything. Like, it's a lot of people that go to that church, don't get me wrong, but it's like he's been here multiple times, so maybe we just don't, you know, I know he's seen me, but maybe he just, when he sees me, he don't always see Jordan. I don't know. But I thought it was interesting that he had just noticed Jordan for the first time. But he spoke to him, asked him what he did, all the things. So it was cute. It was cute. But fast forward to after the sports store, we both went to our parents' house. We went to Jordan's house to spend some time with his dad. And then we came to my house to spend some time with my dad. Gave them their gifts and things. I made lunch at the house for us to eat because we were hungry and we didn't want to pay for anything. And then after that, we went back to Jordan's, and I want to say we just chilled. Yeah, I took a nap, and then I woke up from that nap and I was able to like do a few administrative stuff. My luggage had been delivered, so I had ordered some new luggage for the St. Louis trip and just for more like traveling purposes. So that was delivered, of course, after I left my parents' house. And I also was able to cash out my Poshmark earnings. So it was a good day. It was nice to spend time with family and to be able to go to church. So on June 17th, Jordan and I'm assuming it was a Monday because it was the next day, Jordan and I went for a run and I was able to finish strong, apparently. I read in my journal. I also had a call with Brianna, who is one of the photographers who is on my team. So I work with Brianna and I work with Elena, and I only really worked with Elena. I never really worked with Brianna, but we actually are working on a test shoot or collaboration shoot coming up in September. But aside from that, I had a call with Brianna and Elena to finalize the details of both of their services, their photography services. So I'm doing an add-on for my package, Command Your Authority, giving the clients an option to add on a branding photo shoot after their experience. So that way they can have professional photos of themselves for their brands, their businesses, and their work. And I am going to have also professional photos of my work for my website and social media purposes. So I was able to finalize like Brianna's price point, and I was able to finalize Elena's price point. They're both a little different and they both offer some different things. So I want, my clients to have at least two options to choose from so that they can decide which direction they want to go into. So I was able to finalize that. I also had my first call with my intern, y'all. So I hired an intern. I'm super thankful for her. I'm super thankful for just the timing of it all, because usually during the summertime things are slow, and client wise they did kind of slow down a bit, but I know that they're starting to pick up soon. But I had the speaking engagements, I had a photo shoot, planning another photo shoot. I had quite a few things going on, different lunch and learns, different events, different things that I was attending, and really needed the helping hand of an intern. So I'm so thankful that it wasn't just like a super slow season with nothing going on, because I really needed, like I said, her help. Brianna also encouraged me to reach out to one of my clients to be a part of the collaboration shoot. So I was able to reach out to Stacy, my client from January, and she was excited to be a part of the collaboration shoot. We actually had a virtual fitting / connection call today. And she's just excited. She's like, thank you for asking me to be a part. I'm like, yeah, thank you for being a part, because I feel like when it comes to like this photo shoot and like content thing, I feel like sometimes clients aren't really up for it. And it sucks, because it's like, I want to be able to have you as like, to showcase you and tell people like what I've done for you and all the things. But if you're not up for it, then it doesn't align. So I'm so glad that Stacy was up for it, despite her being a little nervous and just, she calls herself awkward. I'm like, girl, I'm awkward too. Like, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. So I'm super excited about that. So apparently this was the night that we had the live segment, that I did the live segment with Jade and Morgan. So yeah, y'all already kind of know what that looked like, but I'll talk about it more tomorrow for June 18th. So June 18th was a busy day for me. Rhea, my homegirl, was in the middle of doing a walking challenge, and I don't know what day she was on, but she invited me to walk with her. So she actually isn't like walking outside, y'all. She's walking on the treadmill. But I'm glad she got through it. She said she finished her 30 days, so kudos to her, because I don't know if I could do that. But she invited me to be a part of her walking day for the day, and she asked me to be at her house by 7 a.m. She's like, oh, I thought you woke up early. Girl, Oh, where'd you get that from? The earliest I wake up is 8 a.m. unless I really have to like get something done and have to wake up by like 7:30, 7 o'clock. But the earliest I wake up is 8 a.m. I work from home, so I usually don't have to be to work until 9:30, sometimes 10 o'clock. So I wake up at 8, 8:30, sometimes 9 o'clock, pushing it. And I do my morning routine and then I get to work. Like, I don't be in a rush to wake up. I do go to bed a little late too, so that plays a part into it. So I'm working on that. But aside from that, like, I'm not an early bird. But the walk was nice. I was up, I was at them. Right after the walk, I had a call with one of the women at Impact Hub. So I had reached out to one of the women that I'm connected to there to consider hosting my workshop there for free. And they were open to it. They were open to the idea of me doing it for free, but they could only do one workshop as opposed to two. I was wanting to do 2 workshops, one in September and one in December to end out the workshop series. But they were only able to offer me that one free time slot. And also the space that I was asking for can only fit up to 15 women, which is not a huge deal because my workshops are always intimate. But usually I have a vendor at my workshops. Now, this one that is coming up, part 3, is gonna be about intentional style. So investing in the right pieces and budgeting for your capsule wardrobe. So I was really thinking about not having a vendor just to play off the point of, not spending money type of thing or sticking with your budget type of thing. So we'll see. I'm thinking that would make sense. That was an idea that popped up in my head. So I'm thinking that would make sense. And of course the next one, part 4, if I'm meant to have that, I will have a vendor. So we'll see how that works. But thankfully I have a potential space with Impact Hub that will be free. It's not like a super cute setup. It's just a conference room, but it is free. So I was actually looking at other spaces for my workshop that are paid, that I'll have to pay for. So I'm praying on that. One of the spaces that I really loved, it's reasonable, but it's just not something I really don't want to pay. So, but we'll see how it works out. I also had a call with a mentee who applied to be a part of my mentorship program. It was a really good call connecting with her. She told me her entire story. And I really enjoyed listening, to be honest. She's based out of Africa, I want to say. I can't remember the specific area. But yeah, I really enjoyed like speaking to her. And on the call initially, this is the call that they're supposed to pay and invest in the mentorship program. But she wasn't ready. And usually when I have phone calls with people that aren't ready to invest, I would sometimes get upset because I try my best to set the foundation on the call, like, and even before, like when you book, you know that you're either paying for my time to book it or if it's free, regardless, you're still moving forward and investing in whatever offer I have or whatever program I have available. So I thought I set that foundation, and I feel like she was ready to pay, but then the price point, I guess when I set it, it threw her off. But that was also kind of weird because on the application, I had the price points there. So it wasn't like a sticker shock or anything, like the prices were there. So I don't know. I'm gonna follow up with her too, because this was 2 months ago. So I'll see where her head is at now. And see what happens. I also had a doctor's appointment. After that, I had 2 appointments for work as well. And then I had a session, a prayer call session with Raven. So I'm thankful that the prayer call session was in between the time of the 2 styling sessions. So I was able to, during the session, do my makeup. So it's usually a Zoom call. No one has their video on and we're just listening and talking in the chat box. So I'm glad that it worked out that way because I was able to do my makeup to prepare for the live segment that I was hosting. So the live segment actually happened this evening. I thought it was on a Tuesday and not a Monday. So yeah, June 18th, I believe that was a Tuesday. So the live segment happened that night at 6. So I want to say I had a styling session at 3:30, had the call at 4, had another styling session at 5:30, and finished out with just enough time to do the live segment at 6. So yeah, y'all, it was a lot going on that day, but I got through it. So June 19th, happy Juneteenth. June 19th was the day that I was traveling to St. Louis for the Supernaturally Paid conference. So y'all, I had a flight. My flight was, I want to say at 10 something. I was supposed to arrive in St. Louis around like 4-ish, almost 5-ish. I had a layover in Charlotte, and I think the layover maybe was, I think going both ways, each flight was probably 2.5 hours, so it wasn't like super long. I want to say my flight was at 10 something. No, I'm lying. I think my flight was at 1 something. I can't remember, but it wasn't super early. But it wasn't super late either. It was like late morning, early afternoon. But y'all, I was sitting on the plane. I was recording, so I was recording a vlog. I was able to get my breakfast. I was able to do some work while I was waiting at the airport and all the things. But my flight was delayed, literally. And it was after we all boarded. After we all boarded, my flight was delayed, and we sat on that plane for 2 hours, y'all. 2 hours. I was tempted to get off. I was tempted to get off the plane. I'm like, I want to catch another flight. Like, this is too much. But thankfully enough, I had booked through, was it Delta or American? One of the two. I don't know why I always get those two airlines confused because their colors are very similar. But I think it may have been through Delta. But they automatically rebooked me for another connecting flight, y'all. It was definitely a blessing from God. So sat on a plane for 2 hours, finally took off around like maybe 3 or 4. Got to Charlotte, which was where I was originally connecting. Had enough time, barely had enough time to get something to eat, but I was able to sit down at a restaurant, at a bar. I was on the phone with my sister. I ordered some food, got a glass of wine, and I ended up I took a couple of bites, ended up having to take my food to go, paid my bill, and I literally ran to the section where they were boarding the plane. When I got there, everybody had already boarded. And I just really thought I had a lot more time than I did. But once I got off the phone with my sister, I got on the phone with Jordan, and I was telling him like when I had to catch the flight. He's like, you should probably make your way to the gate. That's what it's called, the gate now. So by the time I got there, everybody had boarded. They weren't about to close the doors, but they were like doing last calls. So it was no more room on the plane for my luggage. So I had to get my luggage checked, which was irritating because I had just got my suitcase and I did not want to get it messed up. Because you know when they check bags, they be throwing your suitcase and your bags everywhere. But I had no choice. So they checked my bag and I was able to get on my flight. Took right off, and I didn't get to St. Louis maybe until almost like 8 o'clock, y'all. And I was supposed to get there at like 5. So I think it was either between 8, 9, or 10. I can't remember. It was probably like between 8. It was probably 8-ish because it was still light outside when I got there. So it had to have been like a little 8-ish. But yeah, it was a very long traveling day that was unexpected. But when I actually got to St. Louis, I was able to get my bag. I was able to catch an Uber. I saw a Garda truck. I also got a nice guy for my Uber driver. He was blasting gospel music when I got in the car, and he was a younger guy. He definitely looked my age or younger. And we were talking a bit. I ended up inviting him to the Supernaturally Paid praise and worship service because it was free. I said, you might be the only guy, but I think you would really enjoy it, especially if you're a Christian. So he came, y'all, and it was nice. His name was Jeremy. So shout out to Jeremy for, you know, trusting a stranger and showing up for yourself and getting prayed for. I had never done that before or anything like that. So I just felt led because he was literally playing gospel music, blasting it when I got in the car. So I already knew that was a sign from God to invite him. Okay, so on June 20th, it was the day of the supernaturally paid praise and worship service. All the ladies in the Airbnb, me, Shamaka, Dana, Rima, and Zarina. And the Airbnb was super cute, y'all. If you have not seen the vlog from St. Louis, definitely go watch it to get a tour of the Airbnb. But aside from that, it was a super cute Airbnb. We all had our own rooms. Aside from me and Dana, we had a double room. And we woke up that morning, we went to breakfast, and we actually didn't get a chance to sit. We ordered it to go. And then we went straight to the corporate prayer session. So for the women in Increase 365, we do a corporate prayer the day of or the morning of the supernaturally paid praise and worship service. So we met Raven in her hotel room where she hosted the corporate prayer. We prayed over each other. I'm so glad that this time I was able to record my prayer. The prayer that Raven prayed over me, because now I can listen back to it over and over again, because she said a lot of great things that I don't ever want to forget. So I'm glad I was able to do that. Once we left there, we went out to lunch. We went to this place in St. Louis that was known for their pizza. It was like famous St. Louis pizza. I can't remember the name, but it's in the vlog if you watch it. And it was okay. I probably would have liked a better flavor, and the pizza was also really cheesy, and I just wasn't trying to like do all of that. But we did order wings too, so I had some wings. I had some lemonade, I think, or some type of drink. And we sat there for a minute just talking, kikiing, and all the things. Then we left and went to the Arch. So I had never been to the Arch before. Obviously, this is my first time in St. Louis. So at first I didn't really know what they was talking about. Then I Googled it. I'm like, oh, I've seen this thing before. So like, obviously not in person, but you know, on like social media or whatever. So we went there and didn't realize it was a whole museum underneath. They had a whole ride. You can go up on the arch or whatever. And because we didn't have a ton of time, we literally just took pictures, we walked around, we walked through the museum, and then we ended up having to leave to go back to the Airbnb to get ready for the supernaturally paid praise and worship service. So we had that. We went back to the room, got ready. I showered and all the things because it was hot, y'all. It was hot, so I was real sweaty and like nasty. So took a shower, prepared for the praise and worship service, and then we went to the praise and worship service. Jeremy came. It was a really fun and good experience. Raven talked about a bunch of different things. Two people from St. Louis, one of them being Jeremy, and another woman who it was her first time, I want to say, coming to one of our sessions or one of our services. So we prayed over them because they were from St. Louis, and then we all just prayed, generally speaking, and it was a really good experience. And yeah, once we left there, we went out to eat. It took us a minute to figure out where to eat. A lot of places at that point were about to close, so we had to make sure we found a space that was not closed and was still their kitchen was open. So we went to a restaurant called something, I can't remember the name, but it was like a bar and grill type of restaurant. The food was actually really good, y'all. The food was really good. And it was like 6 of us. And we all got something different. Some of us got drinks, some of us just got regular juice, and we just talked and ended the night. Once we left there, we went to Insomnia Cookie. They all got ice cream and cookies for free, I guess because they were about to close. I said, dang, if I would have known that, I would have ordered something, because I wasn't trying to pay for nothing, and I just was full. So we left there, we walked one of the other women back to her hotel, and then we ended up walking back to the car. Brianna was one of the women, or is one of the women in Increase 365, and she's from Missouri. So she drove to St. Louis to be a part of the corporate prayer and to be a part of the supernaturally paid praise and worship service. So she ended up driving us around, and we were stuffed in her car like sardines. Her car wasn't super small, but it was a lot of us, and she ended up driving us back home. So we ended the night a little later than expected because the next day my flight was at 6 a.m. So thankfully I had to wake up the next morning. Thankfully Rima was also leaving. Her flight was also early. So y'all, I'll get to that when I get to June 21st. Okay, so on June 21st, I traveled back home. I woke up later than my alarm. I had set my alarm, and I don't know if this has happened to y'all, but my alarm sound wasn't going off. The alarm was going off, but the sound wasn't coming out. And usually I turn up the sound before I go to bed to make sure that it's loud enough, but I don't know what happened. Thankfully, Rima was also leaving. Her flight was also at like 6 or 7 a.m. So we basically caught the Uber together, which I'm so glad that we did, because y'all, the Ubers there from the airport to our B&B was about $40, $50, which to me was insane because we weren't far from the airport. We were only 20 minutes from the airport. So it was a little irritating that it cost that much, but I'm glad I had the money to pay for it. And I'm glad that I was able to split it with Rima going home. But she ended up coming up to the room, knocking on the door to see if I was awake. I'm a very light sleeper, so I heard her come in. And I said, oh yeah, I have an alarm set. She's like, girl, no, like it's late, you need to wake up. So we rushed and got ourselves together. I immediately woke up, but I was still very tired by the time I got to the airport. Sat at the airport for about 2 hours. I was able to journal and do all my things, and then I boarded my flight. I got home. Jordan picked me up around like 12:30ish, 1 o'clock maybe. And I went home to unpack and to go to sleep. I think I did a little bit of work, and then I was so tired I went to sleep. And I'm glad it was early because I was able to get a nap in and then go to Jordan's later that evening because I wanted to get crabs. So we were debating on whether we wanted crabs or to go wine tasting once I got back, but the wine tasting wouldn't have worked because I was too tired for all of that. So we ended up getting crabs, and it was perfect. The crabs are really good. We ate them on his balcony, and it was a nice evening. Oh, I also noticed that someone purchased one of my ebooks while I was away. Literally the 19th, Juneteenth, someone purchased the ebook. I'm not exactly sure who it was, but I'm thankful that they purchased it, and I hope that more people do and just learn more about the Body Shape Bible and all the body shapes that I created. Okay, so on June 22nd, I started my morning with a girls' hike. Rhea had planned this hike with a group of us, and we all went, and it was really nice. It was me, Rhea, Nia, and Jade. And we really had a nice hike. We hiked for a long time too, and it was really hot that day, but thankfully on the trail it was a little shaded, so it wasn't like unbearable. But we had a nice hike. We talked, we walked and all the things, and when that was over, I went home to shower because obviously I was very dirty and sweaty, and I had a nail appointment. So I really wanted to get my nails done before leaving for Philly, and this was really the only time that I could get them done. I was leaving for Philly on the 26th, and today was the 22nd. So the nail appointment, my nail salon had actually called me that morning saying that my original nail tech that I usually go to was out of town. And I, could come another day, or I could just work with a nail tech that was already there. So I was a little frustrated because I had booked this nail appointment. It had to have been about a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago. So I'm not really sure how they didn't realize that my nail tech was out of town, but it worked out. I ended up getting my nails done by one of the nail techs there, and I love my nail tech, and all the other nail techs are great too, but I personally just love my nail tech. So it was definitely different getting my nails done from someone else. She definitely did a good job, but I definitely love my nail tech. So I hope that never happens again. But I was glad that I was able to get my nails done in preparation for Philly, because that was really the only day that I was going to be able to get them done. So I'm glad I got them done. I think I came home and came back to Jordan's and just chilled after running some errands, getting some things that I needed for the work trip. I came back to Jordan's and chilled because it was very hot that day, and I really didn't feel like doing much else. So I'm glad I was able to do the things that I did when I had the energy. Okay, y'all, so it's hours later. I took a break from recording, but I just wanted to finish this out and get through the rest of this testimony. So on June 23rd, it was a Sunday, I had to work. Me and Jordan watched church virtually, and then I basically prepared myself for another speaking engagement. So it was very small. Jordan's cousin Katrina invited me to speak to her women's group, and I was excited because at first I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about, but I'm so thankful that I had created the presentation for the church workshop because I basically just used that same presentation for the next day. So it definitely wasn't no energy and no time lost. So I hadn't heard from her the day before, so I had texted her to see if we were still on, and she said we were. So we were scheduled for about 3:30. So I made my way to her house after getting myself together, and when I got there, it was just her. So I'm like, okay, where's everybody at? So she goes and tells me like, yeah, the people that said they were gonna come told me that they were no longer able to attend. Some of them didn't respond, so I'm not really sure who's gonna show up. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, we definitely could have rescheduled because I think I got on my period that day, so I just wasn't in the mood to really do anything. But it ended up working out because one woman did come. That was her friend, Katrina. So we called her Trina. She attended another church, and I want to say she was the first lady of that church, if I'm not mistaken. So I literally presented to two women, y'all, and it was cool. I love intimate events, so it definitely was a great experience and nice practice. I presented my presentation, the 3 steps to determining your personal style. I think that was the topic. And I got some content. I recorded myself speaking, and I put all of those speaking engagements in a reel. So it worked out. I made a new connection. I was hoping she would attend my workshop, but I think she had some other plans. But aside from that, it was nice doing it. I'm glad I was able to do it. And right after that, I think I went to Walmart to get some pads, and I headed back home. I was tired, I was drained, and yeah, I was ready to go. And that's how the 23rd went. Oh, and I sold one ticket, my first ticket to my workshop, Style Therapy. So y'all, at this point, we were about 2 weeks out from Style Therapy, or yeah, about 2 weeks. It was June 29th, this was June 23rd. And I was starting to get a little worried. I just felt like the first workshop I had, the tickets were selling a little sooner than this, and it was just getting to be real last minute. But I still had time to, promote. I still had time to market. I still had time to sell tickets. And I know that people are very last minute when it comes to things like this. So I knew I was gonna be okay, but I was just hoping that more than one person would be in the room. But I did sell my first ticket that day. Okay, y'all, so on June 24th, it was the next day, a Monday, and I worked. I don't think I had too much going on at work. And I had a meeting with my manager specifically, and she mentioned that I did not have to work on the 25th. I was in the process of preparing for the Philly trip, and I was leaving on the 26th. Actually, did I leave on the 26th? No, I left on the 25th. So I think that was the day that I left. We'll see when I get to the journal entry. But my manager basically told me I didn't have to work, but I ended up clocking in anyway just to finish up some last few minute things and to just check in on a few things. But aside from that, I made sure that I didn't clock. Well, I made sure that I was off on the 25th. I ended up just running some errands, picking up a few things, getting myself prepared for Philly. I ended up stopping to get some windshield wipers because I needed a new set of windshield wipers, so I was able to get those. And I had a meeting with my intern. I want to say this is maybe our first or second meeting, so it was really exciting. I hadn't had an intern for a while, and this time was different. This time was different because she is a little bit older than the interns that I had previously, and she just understands the assignment. Like this, obviously she's about 2, almost 3 months in, so I enjoy working with her and love working with her. So I'm so thankful she reached out when she did. But at this point, it was still very early, but I was just, I was just blown away by how helpful she was and just how we were all on the same page. The interesting thing about this Philly trip was because my workshop was on the 29th, oh actually I was about 1 week out from my event, not 2 weeks. So I was about 1 week out from my event. I was going to Philly for work between the 26th through the 28th, and my workshop was on the 29th. So I was cutting it close, y'all. I was cutting it close. Obviously, everything worked out the way that it was supposed to, and I'll make sure I talk more about that when I get to that journal entry on the 29th. But aside from that, I was definitely in a space where I was just a little worried. I felt a little overwhelmed. It was a lot going on with Philly and then just preparing for my workshop. But I did make sure that I picked up all the food. I got everything set in place before leaving. The only thing that I had to do while I was in Philly was work on the presentation. And I definitely did that while I was in Philly. But aside from that, it was just a lot going on and at one time. And I just wasn't, I don't know. I felt like I was all over the place, but that was just me. Ideally, I was good and everything ended up working out anyway. But I did end up going out that night. So that Monday we celebrated with Darius for celebrating 1 year in business. So he's honestly a multi-business owner. Well, he was. So he went from doing one thing to doing something else, and now he's doing what he's doing now, which is running Echelon event rentals. So basically anybody who needs chairs, awnings, the things that you hang from the wall, tables, like all the things, linens. If you need any of that, you can hit up Darius at Echelon Event Rentals. All of my events thus far, I've had to rent chairs for, and I hit up Darius. So we celebrated 1 year of business for him, and we went to a restaurant called Baltimore. And it was definitely a large group of us. By the time we got there, everybody was already eating and drinking, so obviously we had to catch up. We had already ate prior to, but we probably should have ate more while we were there, because yeah, we drank, we took shots, we played games, and your girl was lit. A little too lit. Had a good time though, definitely had a good time. Stayed out a lot later than what I wanted to. I didn't finish my work, like it was a lot, y'all. I just was making bad decisions, but it was a good time and I'm glad that I did it. So moving on to June 25th. So June 25th was a super busy day because yes, I was traveling to Philly for work. So I basically stayed the night at Jordan's house the night of the 24th. Was not supposed to, but because your girl was lit, I had to stay. Ended up staying, woke up, left his house by 10:30. I went to go pick up some flowers for the workshop. Last time I got flowers, I got them from Michael's, which is where my mom works. So I was able to pick them up, get a discount, all those things. Took them home, went home to pack, well, unpack from Jordan's, pack for Philly, wash my hair. I had a last minute, not last minute, but at the last minute, I also had a closing wrap-up session with Keshana. We were basically at the end of her experience. So this was the session where she just basically told me how she's feeling, how her experience was, and I record for a testimonial. So that went really, really well. That was at 4 o'clock. Once I was done that, I was able to leave home, head to Jordan's, and we caught an Uber to the train station so that we could catch our train by, I think I was catching it by like 6:50 or so. So yeah, y'all, it was a lot going on, but we made it to the train station on time. We didn't forget anything. We had everything we needed. But our train got delayed. Our train got delayed for like an hour and 30 minutes, I want to say. I think because it was really hot. They said something about the train was driving slow because of it, or like it was something wrong with the train. Child, I don't know. We sat at the subway station for about an hour and 30 minutes. But it was fine because we got an opportunity to talk, chill, get on TikTok, all the things, and just decompress from the day before moving to the next thing. So we ended up getting to Philly at around maybe 8-ish, 9-ish. Checked into the hotel, which was nice, and then we got something to eat, came back to the hotel, you know, put our jammies on and got into bed. I was tired. It was a long travel day. It was a long work day, and my first day in the Philly store was the next day, so I had to make sure that I was prepared. So yeah, It was nice. The hotel was a little small. It was nice. It was the motto at the Marriott, I think, something like that. So it was just like one of the boutique-ish type of hotels. It had a restaurant in the lobby area, a cafe, and then it had a rooftop bar. So that was one of the main reasons why I picked it. And it was only 10 minutes away from the Philly store. But the room was kind of tight. The room was kind of tight, but that was on purpose. That it was a boutique hotel, so that's what they do. I should have booked a suite, and next time I go for a work trip, I definitely will do that because they have the money for it, obviously. But yeah, I was trying to be a little modest, so I was trying to find something that wasn't too cheap, but something that was also kind of reasonable. So yeah, next time I know to pick something that is larger, especially if Jordan is coming with me so we can have our own space. So on January 26th, it was my first day in the Philly store, and I was so excited, y'all. I wanted to bring like donuts and all the things, but I was late. Of course, I was running late on my first day, but I slacked my manager, Tiara, at the store and let her know. And I still ended up stopping at Dunkin' Donuts to pick up some donuts for the stylists. And I also got myself some coffee, which was really good. I got like a blueberry iced coffee, something like that. It was real good. And yeah, so when I got there, I met Armani, I met Abby, I met Tiara. They were all super sweet and nice. The store was very small, and there wasn't any place to sit. So I'm used to the DC store. I'm used to the store having like couches, desks, chairs, like places to sit. This store didn't have any of that. It didn't even have a sign. So I knew that they were like in the process of getting a sign and in the process of getting furniture. But when I went, none of that was there. So I literally, y'all, stood all day. I stood all day. I had my computer, so I was doing some work, working on the presentation. I recorded some content of me in the store. I recorded some content of me teaching Abby the product knowledge. And yeah, I got some really good content that day. I definitely had a great first day, but I was tired afterwards. I was very tired and I was ready to go because I literally was standing on my feet all day because there was no place to sit. But it was nice meeting all the stylists and the manager. Because they gave us a per diem every day, I was able to go and get lunch. I think the first day I ended up getting honey girl, something that I was familiar with because it was so many options and I just didn't know what was good just yet. So I just got honey girl, which was real good. And yeah, it was nice. It was really, really cool. I really enjoyed it and I'm looking forward to doing it again. That night we ended up hanging out with Jordan's brother Dion. I told y'all he lives in Philly. So we went out for drinks. Well, we went out for dinner, then we had some drinks, took shots and all of that. Then we went out to a hookah bar, which was literally right by our hotel. By that time, your girl was tired. I was tired. I was ready to go. And it had started raining. I didn't have an umbrella. So it was just a lot going on. So we ended up leaving the hookah bar and walked back to the hotel. It was raining a little bit, so I kind of was like speed walking, but we made it back to the hotel in time. I ended up taking a shower and going to bed because yeah, it was late and yeah, but we had a good time. So day one was a success. So on June 22nd, it was my second day in the store. I wasn't as late as I was the day before, but I ended up stopping to get breakfast. Armani actually treated me to a coffee, which was nice. And I met another one of the stylists, one of the sales associates. She was super cute. She was a college student, so this was a job that she was working on the side. And it was nice because I felt like she reminded me of me when I was in college a little bit. And it was just cute, really just speaking life into her and just encouraging her to keep going. She was in a space where she was like just unsure about what she wanted to do next, you know, what steps she wanted to take and all those things. So me and Armani basically just spoke life into her and just gave her some advice. Armani, I think she graduated a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So she's no longer in college. And of course I graduated daggone near 10 years ago, so I haven't been to school in years. But I remember those days. I remember being in college. I remember being frustrated and not really knowing if I was doing the right things. So it was nice to just really talk to her and encourage her. So that's what we did. I also got lunch that day at some place Jordan had went to earlier that day. He said it was really good, so I walked there. It was like a 7 or 10 minute walk. I walked there and got some food, which was nice. I had noticed when I got back to my room that night that my Discover card was in the negatives. So because they were giving us a per diem per day, we still had to use our own card. But of course they were reimbursing us. So with that being said, I'm like, oh, bet I'll use my credit card to get the rewards and the points, and then I'll just get reimbursed and pay it off, you know, when I get reimbursed. And I had forgot that I had put the I think it's called the incidental fee on my Discover card, but also use my Discover card every day. And I had only had a certain balance on there to use. So I was kind of mad at myself when I realized it. I had to end up using my other credit card for the remainder of the trip. And I probably should have used my other credit card for the incidentals and then my Discover for the per diems. But it was fine. I was in my feelings for a little bit because I just hate making bad financial decisions sometimes, and I just wasn't paying attention, and it was just something that I missed. But after thinking it through, I'm like, okay, it's fine. Like, I know God is gonna work it out. I have the money, so it's okay. I just need to be more careful next time. So I had to get myself together, but it was all good. That night, before I found that out, Jordan and I went to the rooftop bar to experience that. So that was fun. We got a glass of rosé, I think, and we just chilled and talked. There was a lot of people up there, so we really didn't have any place to sit. But after that, we ended up walking to the restaurant. So we wanted to just explore the city a little bit before we went to dinner. But y'all know my feet was hurting. So my feet was hurting really bad from day one. I had on flats and like flat chunky sandals. So they was really hurting from day one from those chunky sandals and being on my feet all day. So then the next day I wore sneakers to, like, you know, give my feet some extra support. But my feet were still hurting because I was still standing again. So when we decided to walk to the restaurant, my feet were killing me. We ended up getting an Uber back to the hotel once dinner was over, but we walked the entire way. And although it was a nice walk, my feet were killing me. But we made it. We went to some restaurant. I can't think of the name, but it was like a farm to table restaurant. So that meant like the food was like super fresh and super rich. The food was good. I can't remember the name of it, but if I think about it, I'll put it below. But the food was amazing, y'all. It was so good, so good. We even got dessert, we got wine, and it was just a nice ambiance in there. I'm so glad we went there. But because the food was so rich, that food went right through me. That food went right through me, but it was good. It was so good, and I'm glad that we got an opportunity to go to that restaurant. Definitely want to go back. And yeah, I think that was it for day 2. So on June 28th, it was my last day in Philly, y'all, and it was bittersweet. I was sad that I had to leave because I really enjoyed living in Philly for the last 3 days, and walking into work and getting breakfast, getting lunch with my coworkers, hanging out at night and just having a good time. But it was time for me to wrap things up and go because I had to get home to host my workshop on the 29th, literally the next day. So I worked, I ended up leaving a little earlier than my shift because I wanted to make sure that I made my train on time. So we had checked out of the hotel that morning. They held on to our suitcases when I got off of work. I met Jordan downstairs at the bar and we basically had some wine before leaving. Called an Uber, grabbed our luggage, and we headed to the train station. And the train station was probably like less than 15 minutes from the hotel, so it was super quick and easy. We sat, waited for the train station, and then we hopped on the train. I think I got home maybe at like 9, almost 10ish. And by then I had to unpack, had to make sure everything was set for the workshop. I still had to finish up a few things on the presentation, and then I was finally able to go to bed. Y'all, I will never do that again. Like, It literally was so much going on, so much back to back. I was so tired, but excited at the same time for the workshop because I was meeting my intern for the first time the next day. I was excited to meet all the people. People were buying tickets. I was checking it periodically. I know the last time I mentioned the workshop, I had only had 1 ticket sale, but by now I had about 7 or 8 ticket sales. So I was excited for all the people that were in the room. I had all the food, everything was ready. I just had to make sure I woke up on time and got everything in my car and made my way. So I already knew what I was wearing. I had ordered an outfit from Target. The Janae Naylor and Target collection had ordered these really cute pants and like a cute knit halter top. So I just ironed that, made sure that was good, hung that up. And in the morning I did my makeup, got myself together and all the things. So I'll talk about it on the 29th. So on June 29th, I hosted the style therapy workshop, y'all. Made my way to Illicit Rag because that's where it was happening. Met my intern for the first time in person, set up all the food, the drinks. I already had my slides pretty much done. I think they were like completely done at this point. The playlist was ready to go. Jordan set up the chairs. It was really hot that day, so he was sweating, I was sweating. It was a lot going on, but eventually people started coming in, and it was just a nice time. The conversation was good, the ambiance was good. Everybody really enjoyed the presentation. Everybody like engaged with me, so it was really, really nice. And I really had a good time. Although I was tired, I really had a good time. But like I said, it was really hot that day, and it was really hot in the boutique. Like the air, well, they didn't have central air. They had the window air. I forgot what it's called, but that's usually what a lot of like houses and like buildings in the city have. But when I had my workshop in March, earlier that year, although it was spring, it wasn't like super hot. It was still kind of warm that day though. It wasn't hot in there at all. It was very comfortable. So to fast forward to June 29th, I was literally sweating, y'all, sweating. And when I got there, there was a rolling rack full of clothes in front of the air condition. So I ended up moving that out the way, and it didn't really help because I was still drenched in sweat. On top of me being nervous and all of that, I was really sweating. So I told myself I wouldn't have any more events there in the summer. So I won't be having part 3 there. But I love that space. It's such a beautiful space. Everybody loves it and just the ambiance of it all. But I definitely won't be doing that again in the summer. But aside from that, it was a great experience. I literally went home and went straight to sleep. I unpacked everything, washed the dishes, I ate, and I like KO'd. So yeah, it was a great experience, and I was so glad that it was finally over. So welcome to the last day of June 30th, y'all. It was a Sunday and it was very relaxing. I ended up working today. I worked bento that day, so I was styling clients and all the things. But funny enough, our power had went out overnight. So when I woke up, we didn't have power. So I basically used my hotspot to work on my computer, and I think my phone was like decently charged, but I ended up like just packing up my stuff to go over Jordan's because I knew that I couldn't stay there and have a productive work day without power all day. And I also was going on a boat ride for Shauna's CEO workday. So my friend Shauna has these CEO workday days, and originally the boat day was supposed to be the day of my event, but she ended up postponing it due to the weather, which I'm so glad she did, y'all, because I was going to try to force it after my event, and God already knew I needed some time. So she pushed it to Sunday, which was perfect. So I made my way to downtown to go on the boat. And it was such a nice day. It was really hot, but it was still really, really nice. It wasn't too many people on the boat either. And we did like this nice little networking exercise, this business exercise, met a few new people, and made some good connections and headed home. So it was a really, really nice, relaxing day, a nice end to the month of June, especially after all the things like happening. It was very hectic, but this was such a relaxing day. I got some cute content, and yeah, that is how June went, y'all. So I really hope y'all enjoyed this testimonial video. I cannot wait to share it with y'all. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'm looking forward to share the July testimonial. So I'll see y'all next month. Bye.